And good morning. Welcome to the Essential Space. We're excited to have some guests today. We have our friend Jake Minot, who is joining us in Tennessee. And then we have Scott Chantos, who is joining us from, I'm going to let Scott tell us where he's from. Scott, where are you from?
Oh, I'm just north of Atlanta, Georgia.
Fantastic. And what territories do you cover?
So I cover the Southeast, everywhere from Louisville, Kentucky to Key West, Florida.
Yeah. So let's get started today. So we're excited to have Scott joining us, and we're going to talk a little bit about some demos that he's been doing out in the field. And Jake, you are going to lead the conversation and figure out what's going on out there with some of our products out in the field.
Yeah, so I think this demo that we're going to talk about that Scott just participated in, it really kind of is our strategy this year with all the unknowns with schools and businesses with the COVID shutdowns. As a sales team, we're kind of focused on getting back to basics and ensuring that we keep driving the products out in the field that have made us successful so far. So that's going to be a continued focus of ours through this year. And one of those products is Sport Coat PC, which most of our customers, I'm sure, are very familiar with. So I guess we'll just jump right in. Scott, you want to kind of kick off this demo story about Sport Coat and kind of some of the advantages that your prospects saw from it, and even talk a little bit about how you connected with this prospect.
Sure. So a little bit of a backstory. He's actually a connection of mine on LinkedIn, and he would always post just phenomenal pictures of the work that he was doing. Turns out he was based out of Georgia. So we started chatting back and forth, and this had been going on for several months. I really wanted to connect with him. I mean, he won Wood Flooring Magazine Wood Floor of the Year last year. I mean, just the work that he does is absolutely phenomenal. His paint work, his stain work is out of this world. So I reached out to him. I said, hey, you're in Georgia. I'm based out of Georgia. I'd really love to see if we could, get together. I'd like to talk about the products. I'd like to show you what my products can do. And we finally had an opportunity. Another one of the school systems I work with locally here needed a full sand down of their gym floor court. And their regional ops director reached out to me and said, hey, do you have a guy that can do this work? Anyone that you would recommend? And my answer was absolutely. So once that was on the books and scheduled, he got out there, dropped the drums onto the floor, got everything sanded down, and I had sent him our OMU wood seal and just a whole bunch of Sport Coat PC. The reason being is freshly sanded wood floors are very thirsty as compared to your typical sand and recoat or screen and recoat. He got out there, got everything sanded, laid the stain down, put on one coat of the OMU seal. And then I reached out with him and worked a couple days hands-on. And the first couple days, what I wanted to do is get out there and drag the finish with him. But I also spent some time on the floor, peeling up masking tape, scraping up, paint spots, just helping him get to the point where he was ready to do the final coats. When we got out there, we used our Kai bucket. He hadn't used one of those before. Thought that was just absolutely amazing. And we got the first coat on, and then the following day came back and dragged 2 more coats of finish on it. He absolutely loved it. Thought the gloss buildup was really good, comparable, if not better than any of the competitive products that he's been using. Really liked the spread rate on it. Thought the wood seal did a very good job as well. So yeah, it was just one of those things where you get out there and make connections, start talking to people, and especially in the gym floor world, everybody kind of knows everybody. It's a small community out there.
So, I'm not quite sure that I've heard before the OMU wood seal going on before the Sport Coat. We haven't talked about that. So
Okay.
Tell me a little bit about when you put the OMU wood seal down, that's immediately after the sanding, and then how long do they have to wait before doing the Sport Coat? coat to put the sport coat coating on. Tell me a little bit about what happens there in that OMU process.
Oh, sure. So whenever you take the floor down to bare wood, you'll need to reseal it. So there's water-based and oil-based seals. He decided to go with the oil-based seal because that builds up a little bit faster than what the water-based does. I'll walk you through the process. So you take big ride-on drum sanders, you take the floor down to bare wood, then you'll go through, and if you want to stain the floor, that's the point where you add any stain, so on this floor, like inside the three-point arch, he stained that kind of a dark gray color. He stained red inside the free throw box.
Okay. And the OMU does not alter any of the stain, is that correct?
It does not. No.
Fantastic.
Yeah. So once the stain goes down, you put your sealer on. And typically, you give it about a day for an oil base. Once the sealer is dry, you go back through and reabrade the floor. So you want to use a maroon pad or 180 or 220 grit screen. And that's going to allow your paint lines to stick to the floor. It assists with the paint lines being able to stick to the floor. So you got the seal down, abraded, and then painted. And the paint is actually that's kind of where the magic happens, because it's masking in layers, and you're almost doing it in reverse to get the final reveal of what you're going to find there. I found that process a lot of fun and really just neat how it comes out. Once it's painted, we recommend another light abrasion to go onto the floor. And on a freshly sanded and sealed floor, I like to get 3 coats of finish over the top of it. 2 coats will give you adequate protection, but that 3rd coat really helps with getting the gloss to pop up on it.
So is that common to have the sport coat PC or the coatings can go over the OMU seals?
It is. Now,
Okay.
some other competitive finishes will require a little more abrasion. They may require a tie coat or a glue coat. So it's actually like a 2-part type thing or a 2-step process.
So ours is a 1-step process.
Right. 1 bucket, just pour your line onto the floor, drag it out evenly. It's a little bit easier. There's no real pot life, as in, once you pour it out of the pail into your bucket, you don't have an hour to use all of it. You can actually, it holds its stability over time.
So most of our competition, if you look at their products, there's 2 things that have to happen before their product can stick to the floor, stick over that OMU seal that's put down. You either have to have pretty aggressive mechanical abrasion to open up the wood fibers to give it something to bond to grab onto, or you have to literally glue the coating to the wood, which is what Scott was talking about, a tie coat or a glue coat. So most of our competition, those are the 2 things that have to happen, either mechanical abrasion of the floor or you're physically gluing their coating to the floor. And that's the unique thing about Sport Coat and Sport Coat PC, is that it chemically bonds to the floor. So we don't have to have that aggressive mechanical abrasion, and we don't have to glue our coating to the floor due to the technology that was developed behind Sport Coat PC in the fact that it chemically bolts itself to the wood. We talk so much about Sport Coat and Sport Coat PC, our water-based gym finishes, but it's important to note that we also have the OMUs available. We have the seals available in water-based and oil-based. We kind of have your complete package as far as gym floor coatings go. So people need to keep that in mind. A lot of times we're kind of overlooked in the oil-based side of things, and we definitely have those products available for you.
I really appreciate the time you put in today, guys. Scott, do you have anything you'd like to say before we end today's podcast?
No, I think we pretty much covered it. I appreciate you having me on.
Absolutely. It was wonderful. Jake, it's always nice to have you on. Hope you stay warm in your Tennessee weather. So thank you again for joining us in the Essential Space. And as usual, we look forward to talking with you again next week. If anyone has any questions or anything they would like from us, leave us a message in our LinkedIn post, and we will make sure we get someone back in touch with you. If you'd like to learn more about the start to finish process that we talked about today, we can get Scott in touch with you at any time. And other than that, we look really forward to hearing from you next week, and I hope everybody has a great day. Thanks, Jake, and thanks, Scott.
Thank you.
Thank you.